Hi, my name is Amy Prokopis. I am an author of young adult novels like the science fiction novel, The Arena, which is right there, and the young adult fantasy romance, Guardians of the Sixth Gate, which is right here. The sequel to that is expected to release in the spring. Welcome to my channel. So you probably know if you have seen the title of this video. Also, if you've watched any of my videos in the past, you will know that every month, at the end of the month, I do a recap of all of the goals that I set to try and accomplish this month. I talk about all of the books I read, also talk about my exercise routine. I am a distance runner. I talk about how that went for the month. And I also, at the end of the video, talk about what my plans are for the upcoming month. So thank you for clicking on this video. We are going to talk about all of those things for the month of November, starting now. So in the month of November, I did not do a lot of reading, actually. I read one book, and I'm currently reading a second for the month of November. The first book that I read is Dreaming About the Boy Next Door by Sarah Sutton. This is her newest book. I have read her whole backlist except for her Christmas book, which is Christmas as We Know It. I have that book. I'm saving it for December, so I'm planning to read it. So this is the last book I read by her. You can see all of her books right here on the shelf. Sarah Sutton, you are amazing and very nice. Thank you for all of the advice you've given me if you're watching this. But this book is the second one in her new series, which is the Most Likely To series. It is about a high school, and every year a most likely to list comes out. So the girl in this book, Ava, is most likely to never have her first kiss. And the whole premise is that to get rid of the name, she hurries up and goes and kisses someone real quick, and it is her best friend's brother, and she catches feelings. So super cute, nice little fluffy romance. I've loved everything I've read by Sarah Sutton, so I highly recommend. It was a quick read, even though this is kind of a chunky book. So this one was great. The book that I'm currently reading, I'm only 6 chapters in, is The House in the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune. This book right here. It is super adorable. I think the best way to explain it is actually this blurb right here on the front, which says, "I loved it. It is like being wrapped in a big gay blanket. Simply perfect," by Victoria E. Schwab. And that's a really good way to explain it so far. Like I said, I'm only about 6 chapters in. It's really funny. The characters, I've just been introduced to all of the kids that live in this house. So the idea is there's this really good employee at this facility, and what he does, he's basically a caseworker. He checks out orphanages to make sure that their upkeep is happening, that the kids are taken care of. And he, because he's so good at what he does, is sent to this really strange one where some dangerous, quote unquote dangerous, kids are kept. For instance, the Antichrist is kept there. And it is so adorable. I'm loving this book so much. I'm devouring it because I've just started it. I'm only 6 chapters in, but I cannot wait to finish this. I don't know that it's going to happen by the end of November, but I went ahead and included it in the November list. So those are the 2 books that I read for this month. So as far as writing went, that really depends on how you look at it, how successful I was. So the plan for November originally was that I was participating in NaNoWriMo, which, if you don't know, is National Novel Writing Month. That is the month of November. And the idea is that you write 50,000 words or a whole completed novel. Some people go like big, like Jen from Jen's Bookshelf, I believe, is writing 70,000 words, which is a lot. And so I originally was participating in NaNoWriMo, and my project for the month was to write We're gonna cut that little bit out because I just revealed the title of the 3rd book in Guardians of the Sixth Gate. Oh my goodness. Anyway, So my plan for NaNoWriMo was to write the third book in the Guardians of the Sixth Gate series. It is the final book, and I started it, and I only got a couple hundred words in, and it just wasn't happening. I wasn't sure where to take it because I hadn't refined book 2 yet. There were still some things I thought I was going to add to it. I needed to kind of set some preliminary stuff and get my outline finalized before I could move in and feel comfortable. So I just was stuck, and the idea came to me for a Christmas book. It was a previous idea I had last Christmas, and I'm feeling very festive, and we're going into the Christmas season, and I had this idea to publish, instead of doing a short story a month like I do on my Patreon, I decided why not go ahead and put a whole book there just kind of for fun. So I started writing a Christmas book, and I started it about a week ago, so late November, and I'm already 25,000 words into it, closer to 30,000. So if I had started that at the month of November, I would have won that NaNoWriMo, which is a little sad. I should have just jumped in when I had the idea initially, but I'm glad that I waited because I had a really good outline, and I'm having a really good time now writing on this Christmas book. So long story short, in the month of November, NaNoWriMo was a big flop, but I have almost written an entire Christmas book that I plan to put a chapter at a time, one per day through the month of December. So if you want to read that, it's only $5 a month to join my Patreon. You can join it, read the Christmas book in December when it's really festive. And the plan is to publish that book next Christmas, so 2023. That way I'll have a Christmas book out for the season, and I'll start working on the next one during next December. So it's been a really nice break to write something quite a bit different. So I'm going to integrate that into my publishing schedule for the next couple, like in the future, because it's kept my brain fresh, and I don't feel like I'm dragging as much like I typically do when I'm moving from one project to the next. It's been a really nice change in pace. So that's been really helpful for my creative mindset, moving from one project to something pretty different, just to switch it up and keep my brain, my ADHD brain, interested still. So that's how writing went. More successful in the end than I thought it would be, but not for the reasons I had initially planned. So that's writing. Running for the month of November was abysmal. So I only ran a total of 2 miles, and I don't really have any kind of theory as to why I didn't run very much for the month of November. I think it was just a matter of being between projects. Alex was away a lot because he's working on Christmas plans. And so it was just Finn and I at home. The weather was gross part of November. It was really cold, and it was also really rainy. So getting out to run with Finn was difficult. And when I can't get out to run, it's a little harder because I can only run so far on the treadmill because I don't like leaving Finn in the house by himself for extended periods. So I can do like a mile at a time because I'm quick enough and then go check on him. But to distance run is really difficult. So also, I think I was just a little bit lazy about it. I didn't make it much of a priority. I was trying to write. And so at the end of November, there were a couple days where I went home to write on this Christmas book instead of going out to run because I was just in the mood. So I don't really have any other reason or explanation for that. I am prepping for winter running. I hate the cold. So last year I had to do some mindset shifts to kind of gear up to run in the winter. And so I'm doing a little bit of that. It's not actually as bad as I think it is running in the winter time, because once you get going, you warm up, like your body temperature warms up. So I am planning to run more in December. Surely I'll run more than 2 miles. So that was a little unfortunate. I didn't do any other time trials or any other challenges. I know in October, I did the 1 mile challenge to see how fast my mile was. You can check out that video on this channel. That was super fun and successful. I was very surprised by my progress. I know that I'm still in pretty good shape because that one of the miles I ran was actually earlier this week, and it was a good pace, good time. So I know that I'm still in good running shape, even though I've taken a lot of the month off. But I want to shift and get back into distance running, so longer than 5Ks, because I really miss that. So that's something I'm planning to do in December. Maybe in the spring, I'll do another running challenge because I really enjoyed that, just to see, push my limits a little bit. So that's pretty much it. Running wasn't that great, just 2 miles, sadly. Now let's talk about some of my plans going into December. So my reading plans for December, of course, I want to read a Christmas book. I want to read Christmas as We Know It by Sarah Sutton. This is the only Sarah Sutton book that I haven't read yet, and I've been saving it especially for Christmas, so super excited about that. I also want to get around to Shadow and Bone. This is the first in the series of the Shadow and Bone trilogy. I do want to read that, and then I kind of want to hop on the train and watch the Netflix series. I know that they just recently put out the trailer for the second season of that, and I know they're very different, so that's okay. But I want to read Shadow and Bone and then maybe watch the Netflix series, and then I plan on going back to my bookstore and getting the other copies because they're the same cover series, so it's the same book. So I want to read this. I'm a little late to the game, but I'm super excited to get into that. Also, I have never read Percy Jackson. I know that's crazy. I've seen the movie, loved the movie, and I know, just like with Shadow and Bone, I know that there's a series planned in progress for Percy Jackson. I cannot wait. So I purchased the box set of the whole series. So I know I won't probably read all of them in the month of December, but I want to at least get a start on them. That way, because I usually have more time in December to do that. So I'm planning to read that as well. So again, just these 3 books. We will see how much I actually get to. This one has been on my TBR for a while, so hopefully I'll at least get through these 2. Coffee break. So for writing, I am going to continue writing this Christmas book. So the plan is to publish a chapter at a time every day on Patreon. So if you are a Patreon member, it is only $5 a month. You will be able to read the Christmas book 1 chapter every day for the whole month of December, and then whenever you want past that, because it'll stay up there. If you're not a Patreon member, go and join. We have a lot of good times over there. Super fun. This book, I do plan to publish it, but it won't be published until the next Christmas, so 2023. So Patreon members are reading it an entire year in advance. Yes, it's going to be the rough draft. It is by no means edited, so things may change, but that's the plan for writing in December. I also am going to pick a weekend that I'm off from work starting for our Christmas break, and I'm going to do my read through. So if you don't know what a read through is, I have a video all about how I edit my books. It is included in there. The read through process is where, after I've let the first draft of a book sit for as long as I can, I like to wait a whole month, then I pull it back out, print it out, and I read through it in as close to one sitting as I can, because I'm trying to mimic the process of reading any other book. Like me reading this book, I didn't write it, I'm reading it, I'm getting all the details for the first time. I'm trying to mimic that process from a reader standpoint so I can catch continuity errors mostly. And I make my notes in the margins as I go. So yes, I make notes of spelling errors. I make my little notes about, like, this is a strange thing for this person to say, or insert this scene here. I make those kind of notes, but I don't do a thing with them. I write them down and I continue on. That's why I print the book, so I can write it like crazy in the margins as I go. And then I'll come back to it to do the actual edits later. So that's a read through. I'm going to do the read through for Shade of the Shadowlands in the month of December. Like I said, on a weekend where I'm off from my day job. So I'm planning to do that. And then at the end of December, I'm going to start the editing process and making my revisions on that. And then hopefully starting in the new year in January, I will be able to get that book out to beta readers and start looking into the editing process with a professional editor, so on and so forth. So I'm hoping to have Shade of the Shadowlands out in the late spring. I would really like to have it out earlier than that, but I think for me, with everything I have going on and just to budget a little wiggle room, because I always need a little bit more time than I think, that I'm going to plan for late spring. I have not announced an official date. I've only announced the title. So be on the lookout for that super soon. And lastly, my running plans. I already said it a little bit earlier in this video. I'm planning to run a whole lot more in the month of December. I've been gearing up. I actually just ordered some new winter running gear because I don't have a lot of warm clothes to run in the winter time because I tend to just run on the treadmill. But I'm planning to do a lot more running in the month of December, weather willing. If the weather's not great, I'll just run the treadmill. Since I have part of the end of December off because I work in a public school, so we take time off then to reset for the new semester. I do have some time off that I'll be home and can schedule runs in a little easier. So I do think I'm gonna run more than 2 miles in the month of December. So I guess that's really it. I would really like to build up to more distance running, so past 5Ks, which are 3 miles. So that is something I'll be working on in the month of December for my running. And that's everything for my plans for December and my goals in November. How do you think I did? How did you do for your goals in November? Tell me in the comment section everything that you did in November, something that was really successful for you, and maybe what you're planning to do in December. It is the last month of 2022, which is kind of crazy. So I'm gearing up to do a lot of New Year's resolutions, planning for the next year. I do all of my publication planning in January. So be on the lookout for those kinds of videos. I'll let you get a glimpse at what I'm planning for 2023. And thank you for clicking and watching this video all the way to the end. If you are brand new, welcome to the channel. I hope that you will subscribe down below because I post bookish content every single week. I try for twice a week. And make sure that you're following me on social media because that's where I interact the most with all of you guys is in social media. I'm really active on TikTok. I try to post 3 times a day. And for those of you who've been there all along, thank you from the bottom of my heart. I love reading all of your comments and your suggestions, so keep sending them my way. And that's just about it. So thank you guys so much. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.